There is a silent killer walking among us. Not a virus, not a weapon, not even time itself. It hides behind glowing screens, endless scrolling, constant comparison, and the illusion of connection. It steals energy, focus, sleep, and peace. It takes away your will to live with depth and replaces it with distraction. You cannot touch it, yet it consumes your mind. You cannot see it, yet it clouds your vision. And the most terrifying part, people call it normal life. This is the hidden epidemic of our age, the addiction to overstimulation, comfort, and constant digital noise. Every day, millions are dying slowly, not in hospitals, but in their own homes, dying not from disease, but from disconnection from themselves. But once you awaken to this truth, you will realize that the cure is not found in the world. It is found in silence, awareness, and the reclaiming of your attention. Number 1, the illusion of connection. You can be surrounded by thousands of people online, yet still feel a deep emptiness echoing inside you. You can have hundreds of friends, thousands of followers, countless hearts on a screen, and still wake up feeling unseen, unheard, untouched by real presence. The world tells you that connection is a tap away, a message away, a swipe away. But the truth is, most of what we call connection today is only a reflection of it. A mirror that shows an image of closeness but never gives you the warmth of it. Every day you scroll through faces, words, emotions, and lives that aren't yours. You react, you comment, you share. But when you put the phone down, when the light of the screen fades, what remains? Silence. And in that silence, the heart whispers, "Where is everyone?" This is the illusion of connection, the trap of believing that being digitally seen is the same as being truly known. Real connection doesn't live in the pixels. It lives in the pauses, in eye contact, in shared laughter that doesn't need an emoji to be understood. It lives in the quiet presence of someone sitting beside you without needing to fill the space with words. But this world has become so busy, so overstimulated, that stillness feels awkward and silence feels like loneliness. You've been trained to fill every empty space with noise, every moment of boredom with distraction. And yet, those empty spaces are where the soul speaks. You must understand, there's nothing wrong with technology itself. The danger begins when you start believing that connection is something that can be downloaded, stored, or liked. You can't connect through a mask of perfection, through filtered smiles and rehearsed captions. Connection requires vulnerability. It requires you to be real, to be seen in your imperfection, to be present enough to feel someone else's truth. There was once a time when people would sit together in silence, sharing tea, watching the sunset, saying nothing, and still that silence spoke volumes. Today, that silence is broken by constant buzzing, notifications, and the endless need to stay updated. But ask yourself this: updated about what? About lives that have nothing to do with yours? About strangers you will never meet? The mind has become so full of others' noise that you've forgotten the sound of your own heartbeat. True connection begins when you disconnect, when you put the device away and lift your eyes to the real world around you. When you listen, not to reply, but to understand. When you look into someone's eyes long enough to see their story without words. That's when the illusion fades and something real begins to bloom. Because connection is not built through data, it's built through attention. And attention is sacred. When you give someone your full attention, you give them a piece of your life, a moment you will never get back. That is why presence is the highest form of love. When you are truly present with another human being, even for a minute, You give them something no machine can ever offer, your soul's awareness. So, step back from the noise. Take time to call instead of text, to visit instead of like, to listen instead of scroll. Let your hands be free so they can hold. Let your eyes be free so they can see. And let your heart be open so it can feel. The world doesn't need more followers. It needs more presence, more compassion, more truth. Because in the end, connection is not measured by how many people know your name, but by how deeply you've touched the lives of those around you. And when you learn to connect with others through presence, you also reconnect with yourself. And that, my friend, is the kind of connection that never fades. Number 2, overstimulation is the new poison. There was a time when silence was medicine, when the sound of wind, the rhythm of your own breath, and the whisper of your thoughts were enough to fill the day. But now, silence feels foreign. The moment things grow quiet, your fingers reach for a screen, your mind searches for a distraction, and your nervous system starts craving stimulation like a hungry animal. You are living in an age where the poison does not come in bottles. It comes in notifications, in endless videos, in the flood of information that never lets your mind rest. Overstimulation has become the silent toxin of modern life. It doesn't destroy you all at once. It wears you down slowly, invisibly. Every sound, every image, every scroll releases a spark of dopamine, a tiny surge of pleasure. But too much of anything, even pleasure, becomes pain. And now your mind, once a clear lake, has become a storm, waves of noise, thoughts, and impulses crashing against each other with no space to breathe. Think about it. You wake up and before you even greet the morning, greet your phone, 1,000 pieces of content flood into your awareness. News, gossip, arguments, fears that aren't yours. You carry the whole world's noise inside your head before your day has even begun. Then you wonder why you feel anxious, why you can't focus, why peace seems like a distant dream. It's because your mind is overloaded, not weak. It's overwhelmed. When you give your senses no rest, they begin to dull. Your attention fractures. Your ability to think deeply fades. You stop being present and life begins to blur. You are no longer living. You are merely reacting, jumping from one stimulus to another, mistaking motion for progress. You've become a puppet pulled by invisible strings of notifications and impulses. And this constant stimulation creates the illusion that you're engaged with the world, while in truth, you are drifting further away from yourself. The body feels it too. The fatigue that coffee can't fix, the restlessness that no amount of entertainment can soothe. It's your nervous system begging for peace. You weren't designed to process the emotions of millions of strangers every day. You weren't meant to compare your life to hundreds of others in a single hour. You were built to experience your own life, moment by moment, deeply and deliberately. There is great power in learning to turn the noise off. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers. When you disconnect from overstimulation, the fog begins to lift. You start to notice the sound of your breath again. You start to taste your food instead of swallowing it unconsciously. You start to see life in color again instead of through the gray filter of exhaustion. You must remember that your attention is your energy and your energy is your life. Every time you give it away without awareness, you weaken your inner strength, so learn to withdraw it. Step away from the flashing lights, the digital chatter, the endless feed. Sit in stillness. Feel the discomfort of silence. It's the sound of your mind healing. Reclaim your focus the way a warrior reclaims his sword. Protect your attention as if your life depends on it. because it does. The world will always try to seduce you with noise, but you must choose peace over pleasure, depth over distraction. In a world addicted to noise, stillness is rebellion. And in that stillness, you will find clarity, strength, and truth, the kind that cannot be downloaded, only discovered. Because when the noise fades, finally hear the most powerful sound of all, the sound of your own awakening. Number 3, comfort is the most dangerous addiction. Comfort feels warm, it feels safe, it whispers, stay here, you've earned it. It wraps around you like a soft blanket and convinces you that peace means never feeling pain again. But comfort is clever. It does not show you its other face. It does not tell you that too much comfort weakens the spirit, dulls your edge, and robs you of growth. It does not tell you that the same warmth that once soothed you will one day suffocate you if you never leave it. Comfort is not evil, but when it becomes your master, it becomes your prison. Look around you. The modern world is built to remove every form of discomfort. Hungry, food at your door in minutes. Bored, entertainment in seconds. Lonely, 1,000 digital faces waiting to distract you. Everything is designed to be instant, easy, convenient. But the easier life becomes, the harder it is to stay awake inside it. Comfort kills the hunger that drives evolution. It makes you forget the fire that forged strength in your ancestors. You have inherited bodies made for challenge, minds built to adapt, spirits created to overcome, and yet you are being taught to avoid every test that makes you alive. There was a time when struggle was sacred, when climbing the mountain was not about reaching the top, but about who you became on the way up. Now, we choose the escalator instead, wondering why our hearts feel heavy and our purpose unclear. The muscles of your body, the resilience of your mind, the courage of your soul, they all grow through resistance. Remove resistance, and you remove life's natural teacher. Think about water. When it flows freely, it moves with power and clarity. But when it becomes still for too long, it stagnates, grows dull, it begins to rot. The same happens to you when you stop moving beyond what is comfortable. Growth requires movement, and movement requires friction. You must be willing to be uncomfortable, to step into uncertainty, to face what scares you, to do what your mind resists, because discomfort is the doorway to transformation. Every great change you seek will first show up disguised as discomfort. The pain of waking early, the struggle of discipline, the tension of facing your fears, these are not punishments. They are invitations. They are the universe's way of asking, how badly do you want to grow? If you always choose comfort, you choose the slow death of your own potential. You may survive, but you will not evolve. You will live safely, but never deeply. Comfort sells you peace, but it steals your power. Peace is not found in avoiding pain. It's found in mastering it. You cannot escape discomfort. You can only grow stronger than it. And once you realize this, comfort loses its hold. Stop chasing easy days and start building powerful ones. You stop waiting for the world to become gentle and learn to become unshakable instead. So ask yourself, when was the last time you did something that truly challenged you? When was the last time you felt the trembling pulse of uncertainty and stepped forward anyway? That is where life happens, in the space between fear and courage, in the tension between who you are and who you could become. Do not let the comfort of today steal the greatness of tomorrow. Let discomfort be your guide, not your enemy. Walk willingly into the fire of growth, because it is there that your true strength is forged. For in a world addicted to comfort, the ones who dare to be uncomfortable become the few who are truly alive. Number 4, Digital dopamine, the modern drug. Every time you pick up your phone, a small chemical spark lights up in your brain. A notification, a message, a like. It's a hit of pleasure so quick, so subtle that you barely notice it. But like any drug, the more you consume, the less it satisfies. What once felt exciting becomes empty. What once gave you joy becomes a routine escape. This is the new addiction, the invisible chain that keeps billions distracted, restless, and unfulfilled. Digital dopamine has become the drug of our time. It doesn't come from a pill or a needle. It comes from pixels, sounds, and swipes. You don't buy it in dark alleys. You carry it in your pocket, sleep beside it, eat with it, live with it. Not the phone itself that harms you, it's the constant chase for stimulation that it creates. Every beep, every red dot, every scroll is designed to feed the same system in your brain that ancient humans used to survive. That system once rewarded you for hunting, creating, learning, connecting. Now it rewards you for scrolling endlessly through noise that gives nothing back. You see, the brain cannot tell the difference between real reward and digital illusion. When you achieve something meaningful, completing a task, mastering a skill, helping someone, the brain releases dopamine to encourage growth. But when you scroll, the brain releases dopamine too, only this time for nothing real. You are being rewarded for doing nothing. That's why hours disappear. That's why you feel busy but unfulfilled. You are feeding your mind candy when it hungers for nourishment. Imagine a person eating sugar all day, every day. At first it feels good, energy rushes in. But soon, the body weakens. It craves more to feel the same. The same thing happens with your mind. You scroll, you refresh, you check again. You don't even know what you're looking for, but you can't stop. This is not weakness, this is chemistry. You've trained your brain to expect constant reward. The moment silence arrives, it panics. The moment boredom appears, you reach for escape. You've forgotten that boredom is not the enemy, it's the birthplace of creativity. But there is a way out. You must learn to reset your reward system, to fast from digital pleasure and rediscover real satisfaction. Try this. Go one day without your phone. Watch how restless you feel. That discomfort is withdrawal. It's proof of how deep the addiction runs. But stay with it. Breathe through it. In that silence, something powerful begins to happen. Your mind starts to wake up. You begin to see how much of your time was being stolen by small, meaningless moments of distraction. You start to feel the weight of your own awareness again. Reclaiming your focus is not about rejecting technology, it's about reclaiming mastery over your impulses. Use your tools, don't let them use you. The same device that drains you can also awaken you if used with intention. Learn, create, build, connect, but consciously. Reward your brain through growth, not through scrolling. Give it the satisfaction of progress, not the numbness of repetition. Life was never meant to be a series of dopamine hits. It was meant to be a journey of depth, struggle, and triumph. True joy does not come from instant reward. It comes from earned reward. The joy of finishing something difficult. The peace of a mind that can stay still. The pride of a life lived with purpose. So the next time you feel the urge to reach for your phone, pause. Ask yourself, is this making me alive, or is it making me numb? Because every moment of attention you give away is a piece of your life you will never get back. And when you learn to master your dopamine, you no longer chase temporary pleasure, you create lasting fulfillment. Number 5. The death of focus. There was a time when you could sit with a thought and follow it to its end. A time when your attention was a steady flame, focused, bright, and unwavering. But now, for many, that flame has become a flicker. The mind jumps, twitches, scrolls, refreshes. You start one thing, then another, never finishing, never feeling complete. This is the quiet tragedy of our time, the death of focus. And it is killing not just productivity, but peace, purpose, and presence. Your attention is the most sacred force you possess. It is the lens through which you experience life itself. Wherever your focus goes, your energy flows. But if your focus is fractured, your energy leaks away like water from a cracked vessel. You feel tired without knowing why, restless without reason, unsatisfied no matter what you do. Because no matter how much effort you give, if your mind is scattered, nothing grows. The world today does not want you focused, it wants you distracted. Every sound, every notification, every flashing image is a hook pulling at your awareness. You are not fighting against time, you are fighting against noise. And each time you lose that battle, a small piece of your mind's strength fades. Focus is a muscle, and most people no longer train it. You can see it everywhere. People walking while staring at their phones, talking without listening, reading without remembering. The ability to sit still, to do one thing deeply, has become a lost art. But understand this greatness in any form, mastery, wisdom, peace, requires depth. You cannot go deep into anything when your mind is being pulled in 100 directions. You cannot find truth in a world of constant noise. To create, to learn, to truly live, you must protect your focus as if it were life itself. When you sit down to work and the urge comes to check your phone, that is not harmless. It is a moment of weakness where your mind chooses distraction over discipline. Each time you give in, your focus weakens. But each time you resist, you reclaim power. The battle is small but constant. Every time you stay present with what you are doing, you rebuild your mind's strength. Think of the mind as a wild horse. If you let it run freely without guidance, it will wander in circles, chasing shadows. But if you learn to hold the reins with patience, it will carry you far with grace and precision. That is what training focus is. It's not punishment, it's alignment. It's learning to direct your inner power instead of letting it scatter. The rewards of focus are profound. When your mind learns to stay still, you begin to experience life differently. Colors become richer, sounds clearer, thoughts deeper. You start to feel time slow down. You enter a state where effort becomes effortless, where your work flows naturally, where peace feels near. That is not magic, it is the power of undivided attention. But this power requires discipline. You must be willing to disconnect, to reconnect, to turn off what distracts you and turn inward to what matters. Begin with small steps. 1 hour without interruption, one conversation without touching your phone, one walk without music. You will feel the struggle at first, but in that struggle, focus begins to awaken again. You were not born to be scattered. You were born to be sharp, aware, and alive. Focus is not lost. It's only buried under layers of distraction. You have the power to bring it back, to light that flame again, to reclaim control of your inner world. Because when you master your focus, you don't just take back your attention, you take back your life. Number 6, comparison is the silent killer of joy. Seen? You could be standing in the light of your own progress and yet feel small because someone else seems to shine brighter. You could be walking your own path steadily but feel lost because another person appears to be running faster. This is the quiet suffering that has taken root in so many hearts, the endless comparison that poisons joy before it can bloom. Comparison is subtle, silent, and deadly. It doesn't wound the body, it wounds the spirit. And in a world that constantly shows you everyone else's highlights, it has become the epidemic of the soul. Every day, you open your screen and see what looks like perfection. Smiling faces, dream vacations, beautiful lives. But what you see is not life, it is a performance. You're comparing your behind these scenes to someone else's carefully crafted stage. And the more you compare, the more blind you become to your own blessings. It is as if you are holding gold in your hands, but keep looking at another person's silver and thinking it shines brighter. The world has taught you to measure your worth by reflections instead of roots. You forget that every person walks through their own storms. The photo that looks effortless may have come from years of pain. The success you envy may have cost someone everything. But the mind, once trapped in comparison, cannot see the truth. It only sees what it lacks. It keeps whispering, "You are behind. You are not enough." And soon, joy turns into jealousy, gratitude turns into greed, and peace turns into pressure. But here's the truth you must remember: there is no competition in authenticity. No two sunsets are the same, yet each one is beautiful. No two flowers bloom at the same time, yet each has its season. You, too, have your own season. Your timing, your journey, your growth, it's uniquely yours. The more you chase someone else's path, the further you drift from your own. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your original light. When you stop comparing, something extraordinary happens. You begin to notice the quiet miracles of your own life. The breath that still fills your lungs. The lessons that only your pain could teach. The small victories that nobody clapped for but shaped you nonetheless. You begin to see that progress is not always loud. It's in the way you keep showing up, keep trying, keep growing, even when no one sees you. Comparison kills joy because it robs you of presence. It forces you to live either in someone else's past or your own imagined future. But joy only lives in the now. To feel it, you must be where your feet are. Not in another's lane, not in another's story. Joy blooms when you realize that you don't need to win against anyone. You only need to rise within yourself. So look within. Ask yourself, what have I overcome? What have I built? Who have I become? Let those answers fill you with pride, not the pride that shouts, but the quiet kind that stands tall, knowing you've walked through darkness and still chose light. Your journey is sacred. Your pace is perfect. Your progress is real, even if the world doesn't see it. The next time comparison tempts you, breathe deeply and remember, you are not late, you are right on time for your own life. You are not less, you are simply different. And different is divine. Because when you stop comparing your path to others, you finally see that joy was never gone. It was only waiting for you to come home to yourself. Number 7, the mind is starving for stillness. There is a hunger inside you that no food can satisfy, no success can quiet, and no possession can fill. It is not a hunger of the body. It is the hunger of the mind. Your mind is starving for stillness. It is craving the peace it once knew before it was drowned in noise. But you feed it with more information, more movement, more distraction. You keep it busy, thinking that business means progress. Yet deep down, you feel it, the exhaustion that no amount of sleep can fix, the restlessness that no amount of entertainment can soothe. It is not your body that is tired, it is your mind that is starving. We live in a world where silence feels strange, even uncomfortable. The moment quiet enters the room, you reach for your phone, turn on music, or open a screen, forgotten that silence is not emptiness, it's nourishment. Stillness is where the mind resets, where clarity is born, where truth begins to whisper again. But most people never stop long enough to hear that whisper. They fill every gap with sound, every pause with motion, every quiet moment with noise. And so the mind becomes like a river constantly stirred, muddy, unclear, unable to reflect the sky. You see, a mind that never rests can no longer see clearly. It becomes anxious, impatient, easily distracted, jumps from thought to thought like a bird with nowhere to land. You feel overwhelmed, not because life is too heavy, but because you've forgotten how to stop carrying every thought that passes through you. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It's about remembering who you are beneath all the noise, about coming home to the space between your thoughts where peace has been waiting all along. Think of a snow globe. When it's shaken, everything inside is chaos, flakes swirling, blurring the view. But when it's placed down, the snow settles, and suddenly you can see clearly. That is what happens when you let your mind rest. The storms inside you begin to settle. Clarity returns. The answers you were chasing begin to surface on their own. But if you never stop shaking your mind with constant stimulation, you will never see what was there all along. The most powerful people are not the ones who are constantly active. They are the ones who know when to be still, because stillness sharpens perception. It deepens awareness, connects you with your intuition, the inner voice that always knows what is right for you, even when the world is loud. When you practice stillness, you stop reacting and start responding. You stop rushing and start living. So, how do you feed a starving mind? With silence, with presence, with moments where nothing is demanded of you except to be here now. Sit quietly for 5 minutes a day. Watch your breath rise and fall. Feel the rhythm of life moving through you. At first, the mind will resist. It will scream, distract, and wonder. That is the withdrawal of overstimulation. But stay with it. With patience, the noise begins to fade, and beneath it, you will discover something profound. Peace was never missing. It was just buried. The mind does not need more stimulation. It needs space. Space to think, to feel, to simply be. When you give it that space, you will notice your creativity return, your emotions balance, your energy renew. You will stop chasing stillness in the outside world because you will have found it within yourself. Because in the end, stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of awareness. And when you learn to rest your mind, you awaken your soul. Number 8, the body remembers what the mind forgets. Your body never lies. It speaks in ways the mind refuses to listen. It whispers through tension, aches, fatigue, and disease. Messages that your thoughts have ignored for too long. The truth is simple yet profound. The body remembers what the mind forgets. Every emotion you suppress, every stress you deny, every wound you pretend doesn't exist leaves a trace in the temple you live in. You may think you've moved on, but your body hasn't. It carries your stories, every heartbreak, every betrayal, every fear, like hidden ink beneath the surface of your skin. Imagine for a moment that your body is a diary written in sensations. Every tight shoulder, every shallow breath, every restless night is a sentence telling you something about your life. But instead of reading it, you rush. You numb the discomfort with distractions, caffeine, scrolling, or noise. You call it coping, but in truth, it's escaping. And the more you escape, the louder the body must speak, because it wants you to come home. When you spend your days disconnected, your mind racing toward the future while your body drags behind, you create a tension that never resolves. You wake up tired even after sleeping. You feel heavy even when you're doing nothing. You don't know why you're anxious, why your chest feels tight, why your energy fades halfway through the day. It's not weakness, it's memory. The body is holding on to everything you refuse to feel. Think of a river blocked by stones. The water cannot flow freely, pressure builds beneath the surface. The same happens within you. When emotions are unexpressed, they do not disappear, they stagnate. Anger becomes muscle tension. Fear becomes shallow breathing. Sadness becomes fatigue. The flow of life inside you slows, and soon you feel like you're surviving instead of living. But healing begins the moment you choose to listen. When you start treating your body not as a machine to push, but as a living being to understand, you begin to awaken a forgotten connection. The body doesn't need perfection. It needs presence. It needs you to slow down enough to hear its signals, the quickened heartbeat. When something feels wrong, the weight in your chest, when you're carrying too much, the deep sigh that escapes, when you finally let go. These are not random, they are language. The body speaks through sensations, the way the soul speaks through silence. You cannot outthink pain, you must feel it to release it. And feeling does not make you weak, it makes you real. It allows the energy trapped in your body to move again. It clears the stones from your river so life can flow freely once more. Movement, breath, rest, stillness, all are forms of communication. When you stretch, you are speaking to your body. When you breathe deeply, you are telling it, I am safe. When you rest, you are saying, I trust you. So many of your struggles, fatigue, anxiety, sleeplessness, even disease, are not signs of failure, but signs that your body is remembering what you forgot. It is calling you back to balance, back to awareness, back to yourself. Because while the mind may chase noise and distraction, the body always tells the truth. Take time to reconnect. Walk in silence. Breathe deeply. Place your hand over your heart and feel its rhythm. That beat is life speaking to you directly. It's a reminder that you are still here, still capable of healing, still whole beneath the noise. You cannot heal the mind without healing the body. They are not separate, they are one story written in two languages. When you begin to listen, you will realize the body was never your enemy. It was your most loyal companion, carrying your burdens until you were ready to face them. Because the body remembers what the mind forgets. But when you listen deeply, both can finally rest, and you can live freely again. Number 9, attention is your most sacred resource. Your life is no longer stolen in hours, it's stolen in seconds. Not by thieves in the night, but by the endless pull of distraction. You may think your time is your most valuable possession, but look closer. It's your attention. Time passes whether you use it or not, but attention. Attention is the lens that gives time meaning. Wherever your attention goes, your energy follows. And what you give your energy to grows. That's why attention is sacred. It is the currency of your soul. Think about it. You can rebuild lost wealth. You can regain lost strength. But once your attention is gone, the moment it was meant for is gone forever. Each scroll, each notification, each meaningless tap is not harmless. It's a trade. You are trading your presence, your awareness, your peace for fragments of noise. And the tragedy is you don't even realize it's happening because the world has learned how to monetize your mind. They have turned your focus into a product. The more they hold your eyes, the more they profit. And in this silent transaction, you lose something far greater than money. You lose yourself. Picture your attention as sunlight. When focused, it has the power to ignite fire, to transform, to create. But when scattered, it warms nothing. That is how many people live today. constantly shining everywhere, yet truly touching nothing. You wake up and your mind is already in 10 different places. You eat while scrolling. You work while thinking about rest, and you rest while thinking about work. You are everywhere but here. And because of that, you feel tired even when you've done nothing. You feel empty even when surrounded by everything. But it doesn't have to be this way. Attention is not lost. It is trained. Just like a muscle, it grows stronger where you direct it consistently. The more you allow your mind to wander aimlessly, the weaker it becomes. But the more you reclaim it through stillness, focus, and intention, the sharper and more alive your inner world becomes. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone, strengthen the muscle of presence. Every time you complete one task with full focus, you reclaim a piece of your inner power. You must protect your attention like a guardian protects sacred ground. Not everything deserves access to your awareness. Not every voice deserves to echo in your mind. Every time you say yes to distraction, you say no to depth, to purpose, to your true self. Ask yourself, how many dreams have been delayed because your attention was elsewhere? How many moments of peace have been lost because you couldn't stop reaching for stimulation? You are not supposed to live with a divided mind. A focused mind sees clearly. A scattered one sees only confusion. The secret of peace, of success, of true power lies in learning to direct your attention consciously, to sit in silence without needing to escape, to work with full presence, to speak and listen without drifting. When your attention is unified, your energy becomes magnetic. You start to notice details others overlook. You begin to hear the quiet voice within, the one that knows your path. That voice doesn't shout, it whispers. But you can only hear it in the spaces between distractions. Remember this, your attention shapes your reality. Whatever you feed with your awareness grows stronger. Feed fear, and fear grows. Gratitude and peace blossoms. Feed comparison, and your joy fades. Feed presence, and your life expands. You hold the power to decide what blooms in the garden of your mind. So choose wisely where your attention rests. Withdraw it from the noise that drains you and place it upon the life you wish to build. Every breath, every sound, every small act of awareness is a sacred offering. Protect it fiercely. Nurture it daily. Because when your attention returns fully to this moment, you return fully to life itself. Number 10. The art of digital fasting. You don't realize how addicted you are until you try to stop. The moment you put your phone down, silence creeps in, and suddenly that silence feels unbearable. Your fingers twitch. Your thoughts grow restless. You reach for the screen again, not out of need, but out of habit. That is the proof you are no longer using the device. The device is using you. And yet there is a powerful medicine hidden in this awareness, the art of digital fasting. Just as the body grows stronger when it rests from food, the mind grows sharper when it rests from stimulation. But most people don't give their minds a single moment to breathe. From the moment you wake up, you feed on screens, scrolling through headlines, messages, and meaningless images. You sip coffee while absorbing chaos. You check notifications before you check in with your own soul. This is not connection, it's consumption. You are feeding on digital noise, but starving spiritually. Imagine this. Every ping, every swipe, every scroll is like a small sugar hit for your brain. It gives you pleasure for a moment, then leaves you emptier than before. And like sugar, the more you consume, the more you crave. The algorithm knows this. It studies you, adapts to you, and feeds you exactly what will keep you hooked. But when you step away, when you fast from the noise, you begin to see the invisible strings that have been pulling at your mind. You start to reclaim your attention, your peace, your time. Digital fasting is not about rejecting technology. It's about remembering mastery. It's the conscious act of saying, I control when I connect. You decide when to engage and when to retreat. You choose when to consume and when to create. Just as you wouldn't eat all day without pause, you must not feed your mind endlessly with stimulation, because constant feeding dulls your senses. It clouds your intuition. It buries your inner voice under layers of digital static. Try this. Go one day without unnecessary screens. Turn off notifications. Sit with your thoughts. At first, your mind will panic. It will look for distractions, like a fish gasping for air. You will feel uncomfortable because you are meeting yourself again after a long time. But then, something beautiful happens. The silence that once felt empty begins to feel alive. Your breath deepens. Your senses sharpen. You start to notice the colors of the world, the sound of your own heartbeat, the weight of your presence in this moment. You begin to remember that peace was never gone, it was just buried beneath the noise. When you practice digital fasting regularly, you become untouchable in a distracted world. While others are pulled in 1,000 directions, you move with calm focus. While others react to every vibration, you respond with intention. This is real freedom, not the freedom to do whatever you want, but the freedom not to be controlled by what you don't need. You begin to value real connection again. You look into eyes instead of screens. You listen not to reply, but to understand. You start to feel time differently, not as something to kill, but as something to experience fully. The simple things, walking, breathing, being, regain their sacredness. Digital fasting is not a punishment, it's a homecoming. It is returning your awareness to where life actually happens here in this moment. This moment, this breath is all you truly have. Every time you disconnect from the artificial, you reconnect with the authentic. Every time you step away from the noise, you step closer to your truth. So, once in a while, dare to put everything down. Walk without your phone. Eat without distraction. Sit without searching for something to fill the silence. Feel how your mind begins to rest, how your energy begins to rise. That is your spirit healing. In the stillness that follows your disconnection, you will realize this simple truth: you were never meant to be plugged in all the time, because the most powerful connection you will ever experience is the one within yourself. Number 11, loneliness in the age of likes. You can be surrounded by thousands of people online and still feel completely invisible. You can collect hundreds of likes and still ache for one real moment of being seen. That is the paradox of this modern world. We are more connected than ever, yet more alone than we have ever been. The screen gives the illusion of closeness, but it cannot hold you when your heart is heavy. It cannot look into your eyes and truly understand your silence. We post, we scroll, we share, all in search of something deeper: validation, recognition, belonging. A digital heartbeat that says you matter. But the truth is, a like is not love. A comment is not connection. These small bursts of digital attention are only echoes of what the soul truly needs: presence, touch, empathy. You can't feed your spirit with pixels. You can't warm your heart with emojis. Yet, day by day, we trade real intimacy for instant attention. You've probably felt it yourself, that hollow feeling after sharing something meaningful online. The brief high of notifications followed by the quiet crash that reminds you none of it filled the emptiness. That's because attention gained without depth is like eating sugar when what you truly need is nourishment. It gives energy for a moment, but leaves the soul hungry. The more we chase that artificial connection, the further we drift from genuine human warmth. We have forgotten the art of sitting with someone and truly listening, not multitasking, not waiting to speak, but listening with presence. We have forgotten how to be alone without feeling lonely. Loneliness is not the absence of people. It is the absence of connection, both with others and with yourself. And this is the silent epidemic consuming millions. We are scrolling endlessly, searching for what cannot be found on a screen. Real connection begins when you dare to show up as you are, when you stop curating your life to be liked and start living it to be felt. It begins when you stop performing for validation and start expressing from truth. When you put down the phone and look into someone's eyes, not through a filter, but with the raw honesty of your soul. In that moment, walls fall, pretenses fade. What remains is human, imperfect, vulnerable, real. You must learn to befriend solitude again, to sit in your own company and not run from it. Because if you cannot stand being alone with yourself, no amount of followers will fill that space. Solitude is not loneliness. It is sacred space. It's the garden where your soul learns to bloom again. When you spend time alone intentionally, you begin to hear your own thoughts, your own heartbeat, your own truth. And once you reconnect with that, every other connection in your life deepens. Reach out to those who matter, not through text, but through presence. Call someone instead of liking their post. Share a meal. Ask, "How are you?" and mean it. Look around. There are people who smile on the outside, but are quietly breaking inside. Sometimes, one genuine conversation can heal what years of scrolling could not. Loneliness in this age is not inevitable. It's a symptom of forgetting how to be human. Technology is not the enemy. Forgetfulness is. When you forget to look up, to listen, to feel, you lose touch with life itself. But when you remember, when you choose connection over consumption, you bring light back into a darkened world. So stop counting likes. Start counting moments, real ones. The laughter, the shared silence, the comforting presence of someone who truly sees you. These are the true treasures of life, and they can never be measured by a number on a screen. Because in the end, what the soul craves is not attention, it's connection. And when you learn to love without the need to be seen, you will realize you were never truly alone. You were just disconnected from yourself. Number 12. Reclaiming the human spirit. There comes a moment in every life when you must decide. Will you remain asleep in the noise of the world, or will you rise and remember who you truly are? The modern world has stolen many things from humanity, our focus, our stillness, our connection, but the greatest theft of all is the dulling of the human spirit. The very spark that once made us courageous, curious, and alive has been buried beneath convenience, comfort, and constant distraction. You see it everywhere, people moving but not living, breathing but not feeling, existing but not awakening. The human spirit was not made to live behind glass, staring at screens, measuring worth in numbers and likes. It was born to climb, to fall, to feel the earth under bare feet, to create with hands that remember the power of touch. Yet most people no longer feel life directly. They experience it through the lens of technology, chasing digital reflections of meaning, while the real world quietly fades in the background. You have forgotten that you are not just a consumer of content, you are a creator of reality. Reclaiming your spirit begins with a simple act awareness. The awareness that you are more than your thoughts, more than your habits, more than what this modern world has conditioned you to be. You have within you an untamed force, a sacred energy that longs to expand beyond the limits of screens and routines. But to awaken it, you must first break the chains of numbness that the world has placed around your soul. The chains of endless scrolling, shallow conversations, and false importance. You must dare to feel again, to let life touch you deeply, even if it brings discomfort, pain, joy, loss, love. They are all proof that you are still alive. The human spirit thrives in challenge, strengthens when you face discomfort with courage. It grows when you choose presence over escape. Look back at history. Humanity rose from struggle, not from ease. The spirit that built civilizations, healed nations, and reached for the stars did not come from convenience. It came from those who refused to let the flame inside them die. That same flame burns in you now. It may be small, buried beneath exhaustion or fear, but it is not gone. It only needs your attention to rise again. To reclaim your spirit is to remember the sacred rhythm of life, to move with intention, to breathe with awareness, to speak with truth, and to act with purpose. It means turning your gaze inward where wisdom has always waited. It means choosing silence over noise, reflection over reaction, meaning over motion. You must stop living as if your days are infinite. They are not. Every moment wasted on emptiness is a moment stolen from your awakening. Reconnecting with your spirit doesn't require escaping the world. It requires returning to it fully. Go outside and let the wind remind you that you are part of something greater. Sit quietly and listen to your heartbeat, the rhythm of your existence. Look into the eyes of another human being and truly see them without judgment or comparison. This is what it means to be alive. This is what it means to be human. And when you live this way, when you reclaim your inner flame, you begin to light the path for others. Your energy becomes a reminder that it's possible to live differently, to live awake. The world does not need more noise, it needs more presence. It needs more souls who remember that technology is a tool, not a master, that the body is a temple, not a cage, that the mind is a servant, not the king. So rise, turn off the noise, breathe deeply, look within, feel the pulse of life moving through you. It has never left. It was only waiting for you to return because the human spirit is indestructible. It cannot be deleted, distracted, or drowned. It only sleeps. And once you awaken it, even the loudest world cannot silence you again. For the awakened spirit needs no screen to shine. It becomes the light itself. My friend, the true epidemic of this modern age is not in the body. It is in the mind, in the heart, in the spirit. We are drowning in information but starving for wisdom, surrounded by people, yet lonelier than ever. Constantly entertained, yet deeply unfulfilled. The devices meant to connect us have disconnected us from life itself. But remember this, awareness is the first step to awakening. Once you see the cage, you hold the power to step out of it. You must learn to live consciously again. Reclaim your mornings from the grip of screens. Begin each day not with noise, but with breath, with gratitude. Before you reach for your phone, reach for your purpose. Feel the air in your lungs. Listen to the silence. Remind yourself that life is happening now, not on a timeline, not behind a glass screen, but in this sacred moment. Discipline your attention, for it is the essence of your life. What you give your focus to becomes your reality. Do not waste your sacred energy feeding distractions that drain you. Protect your inner space. Learn to say no to the endless scrolling, to the false urgency, to the comparison that kills your joy. Your peace is worth more than any notification. Your stillness is more valuable than any virtual applause. Feed your spirit the things it truly needs: silence, truth, nature, movement, human connection. Speak less, feel more. Look into people's eyes again. Listen deeply. Be fully present with those you love. A single conversation shared in sincerity carries more healing than 1,000 empty messages. Your body, too, is crying for your attention. It remembers what your mind forgets. Stretch it, move it, nourish it. Put the phone away and walk under the sun. Let your senses remind you that you belong to this earth, not to a machine. Let stillness cleanse the noise that has built up in your mind. Remember that technology was never meant to be your master. It was meant to serve you. Use it with intention, not compulsion. Take moments each day to fast from the digital world. Let your mind breathe. Let your spirit expand in silence. In those moments, the fog will lift, and you will remember who you truly are, not a username, not a number, but a soul, alive and infinite. The greatest rebellion in this distracted world is to live with awareness, to feel deeply, to think clearly, to love without filters. Reclaim your humanity. Reclaim your presence. Reclaim your spirit. Because when you return to yourself, everything around you begins to heal. Now, close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let it travel through your body. Feel the weight of your presence returning home, and silently let this prayer echo within you. May I awaken from the sleep of distraction. May I remember the sacredness of each moment. May my mind be still, my heart open, and my spirit free. May I use technology wisely, not as a chain but as a tool. May I be fully alive, aware, grounded, and grateful. And may my presence in this world remind others to do the same. For this is the true healing of the hidden epidemic, to awaken one soul at a time. And when you awaken, you become the medicine this world so desperately needs. So rise now with awareness as your shield and silence as your strength, because the power to heal this epidemic begins not with the world, but with you.